Please welcome President and CEO of Wyndham Hotels and Resorts, Geoff Ballotti, in conversation with Skift Senior Hospitality Editor, Sean O'Neill.
Geoff, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Incredibly humbled and honored to see how far this event has come. We've been here since the very first one, and it's spectacular.
You've been an incredible supporter, yes, right from the very first one. And Wyndham has some news today that Goldman Sachs has initiated coverage, and so
we have new coverage out there in the market. It's been a great ride. We've been a public company for 6 short years, so yeah, every covering analyst that covers our story it's a great story.
It's a good thing, yeah. And for anyone here who isn't up to date about what Wyndham has been doing since they were last on stage in 2017, you can open up your Skift Live app and use the Ask Skift chatbot, and it'll get you right up to speed on how they've, in the past 7 years, doubled the number of members of their Wyndham Rewards loyalty programs to over 110 million. They now have 25 brands in over 95 countries. The biggest deal, I think, was La Quinta for nearly $2 billion in money. But, Geoff, I'd like to keep this conversation on sort of what's new and next for Wyndham, and maybe starting with what's the biggest misnomer about Wyndham right now?
Well, you come back to 2017, and I can't believe, has it been that long?
It has been that long.
I guess that was Deanna
Ting, like my favorite reporter.
Oh, is she here in the room?
She isn't today.
She isn't here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Deanna, back then, we were a much smaller company than we are today, and we weren't doing what we're doing today. But her whole focus was on economy. How economy, she posited, was not hip, it was not cool, it was not sexy. We have great brands which we think are cool and hip and sexy. And to the extent that this conference is all about renewal and making the experiences more magical, we've been very focused on growing those economy brands. We have the best economy brands, we believe, in the industry that provide tremendous value, that are about to, we think, take off on a 10-year golden run with infrastructure, which we might talk about today in terms of the largest, most historic bill that's ever been passed in our country in terms of how economy lodging caters to infrastructure. But whether it's Days Inn by Wyndham or Super 8 by Wyndham, these are great brands with storied histories that date back 50 plus years. We're celebrating Super 8's 50th year anniversary this year, and so continuing to try to make these brands more hip, more cool, and more experiential, given the value that they provide to travelers, everyday travelers across the country, is what we're really focused on. And we have great mid-scale brands like La Quinta, another 50-year history. The Bar Shops 50 years ago that opened the first La Quinta 56 years ago. But we're increasingly upscale, and so we've added a lot of upper mid-scale, upscale, and luxury brands as we've grown more quickly than any other company. We're the world's largest hotel franchising company with 9,200 hotels today in 95 countries that open 2 hotels every day, that open more hotels every year than any other company, and we're very proud of what we do. And we tie it all together under the by Wyndham, Wyndham Rewards marketing umbrella, which for 6-7 consecutive years has been the #1 loyalty program, and loyalty matters, as we've been hearing this morning and as we heard last night. And it's been a great ride, and it's great to see so many of the team members who are with us today, and we're here 7 years ago when we were launching that democratization of travel for that everyday traveler that is always out there traveling, that are part of the story. Elliot Hamlish, I saw this morning, Jessica Davidson. I haven't seen Lisa Cecchio, but we've had the goodwill of a great team, and continue to be led by some great folks who are here with us today.
Cool. And so you mentioned the infrastructure package. So how will the $1 trillion federal infrastructure affect Wyndham and its owners?
$1.5 trillion. And it really is, we get asked all the time, where in the life cycle of what was supposed to be an 8 to 10 year spend are we? And the COB, the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, is estimating that roughly less than 20% of that $1.5 trillion has been allocated, What's very difficult to determine is how much of that 1.5 trillion is actually shovels in the ground, projects underway. Think about the big projects in the tri-state area that have been announced but have not yet occurred. Those 40,000 projects so far identified are out and about this great nation near our hotels. You're only 10 minutes at any one point in time from a by Wyndham hotel. We believe that the 1.8 million companies who are contracting for their infrastructure workers are going to be looking for economy and mid-scale lodging accommodations, which is fueling the growth of some great brands. I'm seeing Echo Suites by Wyndham up on the screen. Plenty of infrastructure. Workers are staying at Days Inns and Super 8s and La Quintas. But it is already becoming a big lift for our small business owners that own and operate these hotels, but also for developers who are looking at where the action is in the hotel industry in terms of where they want to develop. It's clear that the select service industry is really in the strike zone right now for investment when it comes to future hotel development, because this $1.5 trillion bill is just so massive, so historic, in such early days. And then on top of that, you've got the CHIPS Act, and we could talk all day about the demand drivers that's fueling both the development and the record growth that we're seeing out there in those segments.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, your team has said that Wyndham owners could get up to $3 billion over the next 8 years just from the infrastructure thing. You mentioned Echo Suites, which you've just sort of you opened up your first properties this year. Skift has a newsletter that's called Daily Lodging Report that covers hotel development news. And we were joking that maybe we need to rename Daily Lodging Report Echo Suites Daily, because it seems there's so much. Is this your most popular brand yet? Or?
It's the fastest growing new construction brand launch we've ever had, and we believe in the industry. We, on our last quarter call, reported we have 270 executed contracts for Echo Suites by Wyndham across the nation. You referenced some of our recent openings that you've been reporting on in cities like Spartanburg, South Carolina. And where were we last week that you covered, or 2 weeks ago? Plano, Texas. Massive demand generators in both of those markets from an infrastructure-related lack of economy lodging on the extended stay segment accommodations, which is so just over-demanded and underserved from an economy extended stay product standpoint. And so we believe we've got the best prototype out there, which has led to these very sophisticated institutional developers deciding that this is the best prototype out there right now for them to invest in and build. And yeah, it's taken off.
That's cool. You mentioned that there's about the supply-demand imbalance in economy and an economy extended stay. Some of the other hotel brands, Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt, have introduced new brands that are moving down the scale, so to speak, in their brand families. Do you worry that they're coming to steal your lunch? Or?
It's actually, when you look at moving down from the luxury upscale and upscale, they're really moving into the upper mid-scale and potentially the mid-scale, which is really the product that they're appealing to. Our small business owners are looking for a return on investment on their investment, and are of the belief that is really an economy product out there that's in demand right now. Again, from the demand that's being created by the workers who are paving our nation's roads and building our bridges and renewing our airports. It's a competitive marketplace, as Glenn said last night up here on stage. We're always thinking about our competition, but we're really happy with where we are in our product right now.
Okay, cool. I would like to remind people, if you have any questions for Geoff, please put them in the app and we'll get to them at the end. I see some people already have. So if a lot of hotel investment analysts, they prefer to invest in hotel groups that are pushing their average daily rate up. And so the last 5 brands that Wyndham has added have tended to be in mid-scale or up. If Blackstone called up tomorrow and said, we'll sell you Motel 6 and Studio 6, would you and the board have to say, no, we really can't look at that because we need to be pushing rate up?
Well, we look, Sean, at any opportunity that comes our way, and we're very methodical. Many of our brands have been acquired, to your point, and we've launched, to your point, 4 or 5 new brands, which are in the upscale segments. The most important way we look through a lens of M&A is the impact it has to our existing system and our small business owners. We believe that Days Inn and Super 8, market share leaders now across the country, each with over 1,000 hotels from coast to coast, are great brands. But that's not to say that if a brand like Vienna House comes to us in a part of the world, we're in 95 countries like Europe, and it's aspirational. It helps the Wyndham Rewards program, obviously, and it is not in conflict with any existing product in the upscale segments that we have in destinations in countries like Austria or Switzerland, in cities like Munich or Berlin, where we know there's great demand from our 110 million Wyndham Reward members that want to travel there. And it was a deal from an investor that was pitching it to us. We might acquire it, as we did Vienna House, which is now Vienna House by Wyndham, if we know that it's not upsetting our current infrastructure of owners, and it is a brand that's immediately accretive and is a brand that we can grow.
Okay. I talk periodically with investment analysts, and several of them, they cite like the Vienna House acquisition as sort of like one of the savvy moves that they like about how the management at Wyndham has been strategic. You mentioned you'd consider any kind of offer that might come along. So you're friends with Barry Sternlicht. We're going way back from Harvard Business School. If he called you up on the phone and says, "I have in-town suites, I'll sell it to you for $1 billion," would your board say, "No, we can't put it on the balance sheet, that would be against our..."
Again, we have 3 extended stay brands right now in the economy, the mid-scale, and now the upscale segment with what we announced with WaterWalk in the upscale extended stay space, and Hawthorne Suites, which is one of our fastest growing brands right now in the mid-scale space. And of course, we just talked about Echo Suites. I mean, we'd look at it, we'd entertain it, but it would have to, through the lens of what I just talked about, make sense and tick all those boxes.
Sure, that makes sense. So it's become trendy in the hotel industry right now to be doing tech overhauls. Marriott is overhauling 3 core systems. Accor is moving to an Amadeus system. My colleague Justin Dawes reported about how Hyatt is moving to a Sabre system. But you, back in 2018, right around the time of the IPO, you were like, we want to get ahead of this. We want to get an open, cloud-native technology. So how has that enabled Wyndham to help owners sell more than just a hotel room?
Sure. Absolutely critical with everything that we were talking about last night, today, and throughout the rest. It's plug and play. It's having the most enabled central reservation platform that is completely cloud-based. I know AWS is here, and we work with them, but we began this journey back in 2016. And to your point, other large competitors are now moving off of legacy platforms to allow, from a franchise sales and development standpoint, allow a small business owner the ability to simply have internet connectivity to plug in to our system, not needing property management systems with servers, as so many of our hotels in the city still have. So it was a huge investment. It's enabled us to do so much on the services side. I mean, we're really all about helping our small business owners with the lowest cost of distribution, being able to plug into technology that is really best in class and leading, and is enabling things now that our guests want from an experiential standpoint. Our new Wyndham Connect, which has been talked about a lot by Skift and others, is allowing small business owners to do things in our segment that has never been done. The ability to offer an early check-in to a family that's traveling across the country, arriving in Anaheim, we were just talking about backstage, staying at the hotel in front of the park, but arriving at 10 a.m. and realizing that check-in time isn't until 3, to effortlessly allow that early check-in via text because of this technology investment is allowing small business owners to realize thousands and thousands of dollars of extra room revenue, creating the experience of having beverages and food waiting for them as they check in via text is it's been a great ride, great investment. We have great partners here in the room. Oracle's a large partner of ours. Saber's a large partner of ours. AWS is a large partner of ours. And we're really light years ahead of where we were when we went public, but made that decision back in 2017.
Yeah, I've seen Salesforce, Ideas. You've partnered with a lot of them.
Salesforce, which is where our Chief Commercial Officer, Scott Strickland, is today, out in San Francisco, has put in the hands of these small business owners their latest version of Lightning, which is enabling all of their workflow. And is the Wyndham community is just, it's such an easy system for small business owners to navigate and, again, to plug into. And yeah, we've been thrilled with the results. And that's just part of the Wyndham value proposition that has been fueling our record growth. We continue to increase our net room growth algorithms from where we were when we went public. Again, we open more hotels than anyone else at 2 hotels a day. And it's enabling small business owners to make more money, drive more top line and bottom line contribution, and is really exciting to see.
Awesome. Yeah, $275 million over multiple years that you've spent. I would like to switch to sort of like a personal question. So you, before you were a hard-charging executive, you got an early start. You were a dishwasher and a busboy for a while, and then you got to be a waiter at the Le Meridien Boston. So how was, I've heard this story, but I think many people haven't heard it here. What was your first week like on the job there?
Well, I mean, I feel honored and humbled to be here. I couldn't believe I got that dishwashing job. And are you talking about the
at the Le Meridien? Yes, that one.
The one?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, that wasn't the first summer. Yeah, it took me a while to get promoted from waiter. Every waiter, anybody that's been a waiter, always looks down at their dishwashers. And here's the dirty dishes. But as a dishwasher, all of us look up to be a busboy or a busgirl, and then hopefully one day make that next jump to waiter. I had wanted to become promoted to a busboy. That summer didn't happen. Next summer it did. But I think the story that you might be referring to, that I was a busboy. One evening I was tapped on the shoulder and asked, because my waiter, Tom Mulcahy, who I was bussing for, had gone home sick. I think he had too much drink the night before. But I was asked to put on that tuxedo and to wait tables. And as luck would have it, the general manager was my first table from Le Meridien's corporate headquarters, the assistant director of food and beverage, who ordered a very expensive bottle of French Margaux. I had never opened a bottle of wine with anything other than, yeah, you all know what I mean by. And as that cork came out, half the cork came out. And this bottle was worth, back then, this was back in the late 70s, early 80s, by today's equivalent, thousands of dollars. And I was fired by the assistant director of food and beverage on the spot, on that floor, doing something that I should not have been doing. I was not trained to do, but my captain took a chance on me. In any event, as I was in the locker room taking off my tuxedo, the general manager, whose name was Bernard Lambert, came by and put his arm around me and said, listen, I'm going to teach you, I'm going to give you your job back. You can come back next week and teach you how to open and a bottle of wine. And I said to myself that day, if I could ever on this planet be anyone in life, it would become one day Bernard Lambert, to become a general manager and have the same impact on a frontline associate. I think all of us forget, I certainly do, just how hard our front service workers that we all just take for granted work day in, day out. I don't know if any of you making beds last week for International Housekeeping Week. I know some of our team was last week. I used to always think washing dishes was the most difficult job in the hotel. I would posit today that being a housekeeper is one of the biggest issues and most difficult. Sorry, I'll get to the issue. Yeah. One of the most difficult jobs in our industry. And our industry is having a lot of issues attracting frontline workers like stewards, dishwashers, housekeepers.
But I love that story, and I love how you've sort of used that sort of lesson from your personal leadership.
Oh my
to be
goodness.
able to. We do want to get to audience questions. So, as a company, how do you determine when there are too many brands in the marketplace?
Gosh, I mean, it's sort of back to your last question in terms of, from an M&A standpoint, what makes sense. If it's additive to the system, if our brands are not bumping into each other from a segmentation experiential standpoint, and it's added to the loyalty program, and it's all under the By Wyndham umbrella, there is generally going to be white space geographically. We're in 95 countries. And the brand Vienna House now by Wyndham that I just referenced, we did not have many upscale properties in those countries where it made sense to be additive. So look, the world is a big place. We've all been talking about last night and today why scale matters. And it matters to our guests. It matters to our loyalty program. What makes Wyndham Rewards the #1 loyalty program in our segments, in our space, as U.S. News and World Report, which has it as #1 today, it is because of additional brands, because of additional upscale, upper upscale, luxury redemption opportunities. U.S. News and World Reports heralds Wyndham Rewards as the fastest way to earn a free night. That industry-wide, that's 15 nights. Industry-wide, it's only 8 nights at Wyndham Rewards. We need more aspirational experiences for our 110 million Wyndham Rewards members to redeem into. And if we have a program that has, in addition to our 9,200 hotels, another 40,000, because of our history with Wyndham Worldwide, vacation rental opportunities. I don't know if Fakaz is here, but they're a great partner of ours. I know we have some timeshare companies here because of our relationship with Travel and Leisure. We have an opportunity to keep enriching the redemption opportunities, the experiences that our 110 million Wyndham Reward members could trade up and into. So I would say there's no limit, assuming that it meets all of that criteria that we went through earlier.
Okay. Well, Geoff, I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for walking me through.
Thank you for having us. Very humble.